It's time for Tubi Tuesday, and today we're talking about the 2012 psychological horror thriller Enter Nowhere, starring Scott Eastwood, Sarah Paxton, and Catherine Watterson. This movie's a trip, dude. Let me tell you, I found out about this movie in one of my Facebook groups. And have you ever seen this one? Check it out. People like, it's decent. So it was on my list. It's one of those. I have a lot of movies on Tubi that are gonna go away. So that's why I'm trying to. Charlie does like 9 days or something left. I'm trying to get these all recorded. You know. But the story of this movie is there are three people who find themselves at a cabin. And while they're there trying to just survive the harsh weather, like it is outside right now with a snowstorm, weird things begin to come out about the people. And I'm trying to be as spoiler free as I can. And they discover they might have a connection. These three strangers who seemingly come from different places. Yeah. So let's go ahead and blow my nose. This is gonna bug me the whole review then. Excuse me. Let's close that. And the garbage in October. Go over there. And it missed. Okay. So like I said, we start out with the character of Jody, played by Sarah Paxton, robbing a gas station with her boyfriend, Kevin. And they specifically want something from this safe. And the guy says you wouldn't like what's in there or something, and she fires the gun at him. We cut to a woman wandering down the road. This is Samantha, played by Catherine Watterson. And she finds Tom, played by Scott Eastwood. Well, I maintain he's a good actor. I think he's up there with his dad. I think he's pretty good. Yeah. Tangent something. Anyway, so the two of them, huddle in the cabin for the night because it gets below 0 temperatures at night. And then the next day they go to her car to try to look around. She says that her husband, Adam, went on to try to find help and hasn't come back. Yeah. So they are, stuck there. They get all the blankets and whatever they can from the car and go back to the cabin and spend another night together. She's pregnant, which is important. She's also smoking, which is also important because, people call her out on it, like, you're smoking, where would it go? But. So, it's slow going at first. You're trying to figure out what's going on. You don't know what's going on. At one point, Tom goes out to try to look around and ends up right back around where he came from. He's very confused. I think she does the same thing, but they can't really get anywhere. One morning, while Tom is out, a strange woman, Jody, who we've already seen, it ends up on the porch, and Sam brings her inside so she doesn't freeze. She's confused. Now, I saw the picture, the cover of this, and I'm like, what's with Sarah Paxton's hair? Why does she have a mullet? Well, once you find out the twist, it makes perfect sense. And if you stare at these three people, you can tell there's something off. They give you hints, like Sam is dressed with a mullet, she's got the Marty McFly life preserver thing, vest on. This is Jody. Sorry. Samantha is dressed she got like very posh looking, from the older generation. And Tom looks, what normal people from that time period would dress. He's normal. There's also an issue I have that's never explained, and it's a big issue. Okay? So we like to believe this was all in the same time period, so I guess I'm going to say it. So, at one point, Samantha asks about a phone, and he says, well, all we have is this radio. Well, Tom doesn't have a cell phone? I guess they want to keep it ambiguous as to when this is supposed to take place in, but then we find out something else, And then Jody wakes up and she has like issues with them, because she just robbed the place, and so she's kind of out of it. And they all try to go separate ways to escape or to find a way out, and they all end up, back at the cabin. Ooh. They do find this bomb shelter that has all this stuff in it, and end up back at the cabin again, like I said. And this drunken night, well, Sam's not getting drunk, she's pregnant. Well, she's okay to smoke, I guess, I don't know. But, leads them to find out some things. Tom goes out to take a leak, and then our two women have a conversation, because earlier, Jody tripped, and some money fell out. And so she wants to look at the money, because she's like, I rob banks for a living, that's what I do. She thinks it's a joke, but no, I don't lie. A lot of things I do, I don't lie. They also discuss certain things, like Tom's mother died before he was born. He was raised in a foster home, he was raised in an orphanage. We know that Sam's father died in the war, and we know that Jody's father also died in the war, and her mother died in childbirth. Very important things. So Sam's looking at this money and thinks it's fake because it says that it was made in 1984. And she said, well, you get money from the future. They go, what do you mean the future? What year do you think it is? 1962? What year do you think it is? And she opens up her jacket and it says 1985. He comes back, Tom comes back, and they ask him what year he thinks it is. Well, first of all, earlier, they were thrown off because one of them thinks they're in Virginia, another one thinks they're in New Hampshire, one thinks New Hampshire, the other one thinks Wisconsin, and Tom thinks he's in North Dakota. Now, so that thrown off what location they're in. They think aliens abducted them and dropped them there. They don't know. And to be honest, I'm frustrated. It's never really explained what is happening. Anyway, now, not only are they from separate towns, but separate years, because Tom thinks it's 2011. And again, I call back to, how does the guy from 2011 not have a cell phone? It makes no sense, and the only reason he doesn't have one is because if he did, they'd have figured out the twist, they'd have figured it out sooner. If he just pulled out his futuristic cell phone, the other two would be like, what's that? So he doesn't have a cell phone, so we can keep the twist going for as long as we can. That's why. Otherwise, there's no other reason for him to not have a cell phone. It's scratchingly confusing. It is. So now they're all confused, because they also look at the stuff they got from the 1930s. It's like 30s. They start looking at what's going on here? Something is going on. We never really fully get what's going on more stuff starts to come out, such as her husband, Samantha's husband Adam, actually died in the Vietnam War, clusterfuck as it is, and then uh, Samantha, her, I guess they don't figure it out yet. They don't figure it out yet, um, the next day, they see a man going outside. I do love the joke where Samantha or Jody says it's Michael Myers, and Jody's like, "Do you know him?" She doesn't know who Michael Myers is yet. She's from 1962, and so I have another problem. Okay, because I know why they did it, but Tom was out to talk to him, and this guy Hans, played by Sean Sipos, can't speak a lick of English, which is bullshit because World War II German soldiers spoke English. They could speak English. Not just because the movies say so, but they could speak English. I'm just saying. But he can't speak English because the script said he can't. Because if he did, they'd get the things figured out quicker. So we have to spread the time. So he doesn't speak English. And I try to talk to him. Oh, and by the way, Samantha can speak German because her father was German. But conveniently, she can't speak all German, just a little bit. So she can't translate everything. Which again is a tactic to keep the runtime going. Because again, if she could speak perfect German to him, things would be explained faster. And we get things done. So he knocks them all out and holds them captive. And he sees a necklace on Jody's neck and asks where they got it. Because he's also had the necklace. And it's revealed how they did not say anything till now that Samantha also has the same necklace. Although neither of them noticed it. No. And so, yeah, he's freaking out. And by the way, at this point, Tom is tied to a tree outside because he brought him outside to try to explain something that, only she understands him. So he goes out there and they ask him if he had a locket. He's like, no, I don't have a locket. What are you talking about? And they're trying to figure out what the connection is. So they end up, I like this though. He's like, tell him I know something he doesn't know. He's like, what? He's like, I know how to untie a slip knot. Or he's like, bam! I know how to untie a slip knot. Bam! Bitch went down. Bam! Tom, super bitch. Or super hunk, or whatever. I don't know. I don't care. So they tie him up. Everyone's getting tied up now. And the three of them start to have a conversation. So Jody reveals her dad died in the Vietnam War and that the locket is of her grandmother and that is Jody's or Samantha's mother. But Jody's mother died in childbirth, which means that the baby that Sam has in her stomach is Jody, and she's gonna die in childbirth. Right? And so she goes outside to get some breath, and then the other two have a conversation, and this is where it's revealed they're all different generations of the same family, because Tom reveals that she's his mother, but she doesn't want to have kids, and he said, well, it's gonna happen sometime within in that year. You're gonna get pregnant, and I'm gonna be born in a women's correction facility prison in North Dakota, and end up living in an orphanage because she was executed 8 months later for robbing. She robbed banks and everything, but she killed the guy at the counter and her boyfriend. So she's saying that her boyfriend left her. No, she killed him. So, yeah. And So they still don't know what's going on, and they come to the conclusion, while looking at the maps, that, they trace it back to Hans. Hans is Samantha's father. So they say if Hans doesn't die, that they are there to prevent Hans's death. They had to make sure he doesn't die. But of course Hans doesn't believe them because we got to keep this thing going, and he's, I have to do a mission. I have to get my mission. Mission, and they call him a Nazi. I'm not a Nazi. I'm a soldier. Look, not every German soldier was Nazi, right? Was that true? There was two divisions, right? One were German soldiers. Others were Nazis that worked for Hitler. But they weren't all connected, right? I don't know. I wasn't alive back then. Anyway, during this scuffle outside, they have a scuffle, and he brings out his German Luger, right? Little German pistol, and then he goes off and shoots Jodie, Sarah Paxton, and she's dying. And so they tell Tom, the guy who doesn't speak fucking German, to go tell the German guy who only speaks German that he has to go and he has to go into the bunker. I understand the guy's got a pistol, okay? But why send there are basically two people left. Why send the one person that doesn't speak German? Why not have her go? Other than he's a guy and he has to protect her, fine. But I don't know, he's gonna fade away and classify himself as obsolete. No. And he does. There's a point where Hans just starts shooting him, but the bullets are going right through him because Jodie is dying, and he's starting to disappear, and he does. Gone. So then it's up to Samantha to tell him he has to get into the shelter. She gets him into the shelter. The bombs drop. He's safe. And then we cut to the same gas station in 1985. And I don't know why we cut to this, but Jodie is there, and she's like, I feel like I've been here before. And the guy's like, well, you get the feeling. You get that feeling again. And so she takes the flowers and she goes. And then Jodie's boyfriend in the other timeline shows up. So by the way, I'll get to it in a minute. Jodie's boyfriend in the other timeline shows up with another chick. They try to rob their place, and it basically happens all over again, but with a different girl. So, are we led to... Again, he says the same thing. You wouldn't want to know what's in there. Are we led to believe that whatever is in that safe caused this? Because it's never explained. It's never explained what happened. At all. So, I should explain now what has happened. Okay? I mean, timeline-wise. So, in the original timeline, Hans died in World War One. In World War Two. Excuse me. In World War Two. Jodie's mother remarried. Right? Samantha's mother remarried. And then they both died in a car accident. Right? And then she got pregnant. Adam went off to war. And he died in Vietnam. I think Samantha dies in childbirth. Adam dies in Vietnam. And Jodie gets raised by her abusive grandparents on her father's side. She grows up into a life of crime and robs gas stations with her boyfriend. And then ends up killing the gas station attendant and her boyfriend which the gas station attendant is doomed to die in either timeline, I guess. And then ends up in a women's correctional facility where she ends up giving birth to her son, which ends up being Tom, who was raised in an orphanage. And yeah, now, wait, I had a point to make. What was that? So, Jodie's not already pregnant when she robs the place? Because the way they make it look is that they rob the place and she kills her boyfriend right away. Unless Kevin is not the father of the child. I don't know. And the only significance I can think of with this cabin is that that's where Hans was. He finds the cabin, I'm guessing. So now in this new timeline, alright? It's a little wibbly wobbly, tummy wummy stuff. In this new timeline, Hans survived. Samantha's mother never remarried. They're raised together, and somehow it corrects everything, right? She is there. Both of her parents are there to raise her. She is with Adam. She gives birth to Jodie, and somehow doesn't die in childbirth because of the change. Because also it's confusing because the final scene of this is Jodie going to a memorial for her grandfather, and then Samantha is there. Okay. I don't know how you wibbly wobbly timey wimey stuff can stop dying in childbirth. Complications from childbirth is one of those things that even Superman can't prevent. I don't understand how changing the timeline stopped her from dying in childbirth. That's the thing. I don't understand. I don't know. Maybe if they said that actually she didn't die in childbirth, they just told her that, and she didn't want to raise the child on her own, so she used to euthanize herself, or something, or she died. Maybe they said she died in a car accident a couple months after she was born. I don't know. That just like her parents. So I don't know. Somehow that changed things, and apparently Jodie's gonna. But here's the thing. No, I just thought of this. So, Tom's father can't be Kevin. Because if he's still born in this timeline, Kevin is with someone else. She never hooked up with Kevin. So if that's the case, because they do start to change. The scars that Jodie has start disappearing. And if that was a big, if Kevin was the father, then... So apparently she's going to meet the father some point that year. So it's not Kevin, or Tom wouldn't exist anymore. I'm just saying. Yeah, it's complicated. It's wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff. Movie ends with them walking on a pathway. I don't know. I just don't get it. Like, how does changing this timeline stop her from dying in childbirth? She would still be raised by her grandparents. Adam would still go off to war. I don't get it. How does stopping Hans from dying that day, is it like negate all the bad luck in their lives because he survived? Was that one incident put a curse on their whole family? That's what it was? And what was it that caused them all to be there to come together to save this guy? I don't get it. I don't get it. And how much do they actually remember? Because, like, it seems like she doesn't remember, but she sort of remembers the gas station. But then the whole thing at the end with both of them going to Hans's grave makes me think they do remember. By the way, although it does say that he just died in 1985. Yeah, that he lived from 1960 to 1985. That's a long life. 72 years. Well done. So, yeah. I would like to know, like, we don't see Tom again after this. So, does Tom actually get born? Because we're stuck in 85 now. So, I don't know. I don't understand. I don't know. Does he get born? That's the thing. Because you think that if we're going to catch up with someone, it would be Tom. Because he is the closest one. Right? I don't know. I'm going to give this... Screw it. I'll give it a low, pretty good. I liked it for what it was. It's just wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey stuff. It's confusing. It's very confusing. But it was a fine watch. I liked it. What it was. So, yeah. What are your thoughts on Enter Nowhere? Now that I think of it, what does that title even mean? Enter Nowhere. I don't get it. The timeline, the title of the movie doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know. But let me know in the comments below. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.